Right, that time of the morning where we give you a snapshot of the stories making headlines in the morning papers. And I'll kick us off with the Citizen newspaper this morning. It's another angle around the load shedding story. Hospitals still in the dark. The Citizen saying in a move to seek additional supply of power to be considered for installation in health facilities. And that's, of course, to complement generators as part of an energy mix. A plan to get these facilities exempt from load shedding may run into a wall as facilities are hardwired into the communities that they serve. So essentially it's going to be difficult to separate the hospitals from the community that they fall under. But in the meantime, there is this power supply mix that sort of is in the works. So generators and then additional power supply sort of to supplement during times of load shedding. I mean, we've spoken to doctors here on the program just over the past few weeks. It's a matter of life and death.
It is, and that power mix that you're talking about, pretty much long overdue when it comes to hospitals.
Absolutely.
We've had the load shedding issue for a very long time in this country.
Yeah, and those in charge of hospitals have called on Eskom, City Power and the like to exempt them for as long as we've had load shedding. Yeah. The Sowetan this morning is leading with a number of stories. In fact, on the masthead there at the top, it talks about former Mineral Resources Minister Mosebenzi Zwane having a bit of a light moment there with a former trustee from Optimum Coal Mine. And of course, he was appearing in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court, where he and his co-accused are facing fraud and corruption charges related to the Vrede Dairy Farm project. And then at the bottom of that photo there, you'll see a red strip. That's another story we've been tracking here on the program with the COSATU conference. The Sowetan saying COSATU sets D-Day for ANC divorce. And we've been hearing sort of different stories from leaders in COSATU, from former leaders in the SACP as well, about whether this is the end of the road for the tripartite alliance. I suppose time will tell. And then at the bottom of that story there, Joburg in the line of fire. A Sowetan family, just one of three, left hapless as a blaze consumed their home, listen to this, just 7 kilometers from a fire station that doesn't have a fire engine. So, according to the Sowetan here, it's just bizarre. There are 15 trucks. 2 of them are broken, and they serve the cities, that's Johannesburg's 5 million population, from 35 bases. But just 15 trucks, so essentially 13 trucks with the 2 that have broken down. Obviously leaving residents vulnerable when there are fires ravaging communities. The Star newspaper is also leading with a take on the Mosebenzi Zwane story and his appearance in court yesterday. He is out on bail of 10,000 rand. But the Star leading with this headline, "I'm not guilty, pleads Zwane." The trio there pictured on charges of fraud, theft, corruption and money laundering. And then to the right-hand side, another big story in politics in Johannesburg. Joburg getting a new speaker, COPE's councillor Colleen Makubele, elected in an extraordinary council sitting that took place just yesterday. Analysts asking the question, does this signal the end of the road for Mayor Mpopalatse?
Time will tell.
In business?
So in the business day this morning, again, no politics, but it's a very serious issue, Michelle, where inflation is being sought, or rather the central banks are seeking to counter inflation globally. But today's headline is Kganyago forceful on inflation fight, and that is a view that is currently existing in South Africa. However, the Reserve Bank governor basically indicating that there is no other way than to counter inflation, at least to get to a level where we do not have hyperinflation in South Africa. And I've said before, that then affects the poorest of the poor, whether we like it or not. But it's also, a thread in the stories that we are running on the business desk today, talking about the salaries of South Africans that are not going up. We are under pressure, and inflation again creeps in there and indicates that inflation at this level is unsustainable.
I mean, there's been a lot of criticism of how the Reserve Bank has been doing things lately. Some analysts, and it was actually in the business day, talking about us needing to find a new model, a new way of doing things, a shake-up in how we respond to inflationary pressures.
Yeah.
I mean, was this the only way to go with the hiking of interest rates?
Unfortunately, currently, this is the only way to go. I mean, if South Africa is going to adopt a new monetary policy, again, it's not going to take, a day for it to be effective, given the economic climate. Has it been tested before elsewhere, the likes of China? Yes, but they've been doing this for quite some time. We are still babies here.
Yeah, and of course, consumers under increasing pressure. 6:28 this morning. Hi, Benjamin.
Good morning.
What's on the back pages?
Not good news if you're a cricket fan, and Tumisang spoke about it a little bit earlier. It was just unbelievable in India yesterday. The Proteas in their first T20 match, and the Star is reflecting on this here. Proteas blown away by India, and they were truly, truly blown away. It says here, to be reduced to 9 for 5 within 15 balls is as unacceptable as it comes in international cricket. I don't know what happened, but it was catastrophic, and they will hope to leave that in that first match. They play in the second T20 on Sunday, and surely this cannot be the way they'll be playing if they hope to win the World Cup come next month. Well, it starts next month, so it can't be. And we spoke about the pressure that will be on Themba Bavuma, right? And the fact that all eyes will be on him to say, what's the hoo-ha? Why is there such a cry about why he was left out of the SA20 auction, or why he wasn't picked there? And he had a nightmare of a game. He was bowled, clean bowled for a duck. And those not in the know, a duck in cricket is when you post nothing. So
and he wasn't the only one.
Your out was naught, and that's important because the man who was the most expensive at that auction, 9.2 million, Tristan Stubbs, also was dismissed for a duck. So it was a terrible performance from the Proteas, and particularly because they are hoping to use these matches to prepare for the World Cup in Australia.
So what happened?
Look, perhaps the side shows were just too much, but give credit to the Indian bowlers, though. They were fantastic. They moved the ball in the right places. The swings were right. The seam was working for them. So it was a fantastic performance from India. South Africa reduced to 106 for 8. It is unacceptable.
Yeah, we'll reluctantly give credit to the Indian bowlers.
Yeah.